Checking on. Uh, well, good evening, everybody. I'm gonna wait just a few minutes here, give folk enough time to realize we are on time online. I've been talking about this for the past couple of days now. So yeah, I see a couple of folks have already jumped on here. We're gonna have some real conversation, man. This is gonna be it's gonna be very informal. And give me just a second while I bounce between the computer here and looking at something on my phone. But hey, Jackie, I see you. And that should give me an opportunity to actually send the invite out to other people. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and get started though, because ideally this will be saved online so people they'll be able to view this whenever at their own time when they see fit. But for those that don't know, my name is Richard Edwards. I told you all over this past week that I was gonna do like an informal interview with a young man that I have a great deal of respect for, and I'm gonna allow him to introduce himself here in a second. So basically, it's gonna be kind of informal, laid back, in a conversational style, and I'm sure over a period of time, other people will start checking in. But in the meantime, what I'm gonna do is kind of set the stage for how this conversation is gonna go, what we're actually looking at covering through this time online. For the most part, we're gonna be dealing with two things. Number one, my guy Dwayne is gonna get an opportunity to kind of share a little bit about himself in terms of his own personal life story of where he's been and where he is now, and really how God actually brought about that transformation in his life. And then we're going to transition into having some meaningful conversation about some practical things that we could look at doing regarding our young people in this city, because we at a point where we can no longer ignore what's going on in our time now. We've got to be intentional about reaching out in order to impact the lives of our young people in this city. So with no further ado, I'm going to move forward, and I'm going to give my guy Dwayne an opportunity to go ahead and introduce himself, and he can kind of share, as his heart so leads.
Of course, Richard said my name Dwayne Jackson. I'm from Memphis, 30 years old. Grew up in really the North Memphis area all my life. Attended regular, high school, North Side. Kind of early on, maybe teenagers, basically. Got involved in the drugs and the gangs and, all the seem like now normal stuff that all of them involved in. But kind of went a little deep and got involved in the drugs. And, for me, the drugs became the devil, you know what I'm saying? And just really took over, me not knowing at the time, really took over a whole lot of my life. And kind of pushed me down a path that was a lot worse than just the gangs. And as I got a little older, because they started around probably 16, got a little older and kind of progressed a whole lot with the drug use, and just kind of turned into a devil that I really wasn't ready for and really didn't see coming. And went through a lot of changes, I'm probably making a lot of it sound like real light, but went through a lot of changes. I overdosed twice, shooting up morphine. Last time they had me, I was down the street from where we at now, Methodist North, ICU. And man, really took me down a path that was real dark and destructive. But of course, as good as God is, good as a good Lord, I was able to extract and learn a whole lot from this situation. That was like 11 years ago, which wasn't a lot of time ago. But you know, Mr. Richard, at some point I ran across him. Of course, I knew him from high school when I went to Northside. But Rich reached out to him going through a situation, and he really came through for me, and we really been rocking ever since. That was like 12 years ago, 11, 12 years ago. And, you know, here I am now. I made it sound real light, but I guess I'm sure he got questions for me, so we can see what's good.
Yeah, talk about where you are in your life right now. Because, you know, one of the things that I've shared already about you is that irregardless of where you started out at, the thing that has really intrigued me the most about his life is how God has radically turned his life around for the good. And this brother got in touch with me one day and asked me, was I still talking with young people? And I told him, yeah. And he said, I think I really want to start trying to help you do some of that and reach out to some of these young cats. And I was like, bet, say no more. And so that's how we got that started. But, you know, just speak a little bit in terms of what are you doing now with your life now that things have turned around drastically for you.
Right. It's kind of crazy though for me because, like I say, not long ago I'm getting high and shooting and robbing and doing all kind of stuff. You know, penitentiary stuff I shouldn't have been doing. But now I got a child and go to work. I'm actually a truck driver now. I just haul fuel, take it to the gas station, put it in the ground, all that good stuff. But the life that I live now and the one that I did live is like, you know, like night and day.
Yeah.
They as far from one another as the North Pole and the South Pole. And you know, this life I live now a lot more comfortable. You know, because I carry a gun, got my gun on now, but now I got a gun license and I just carry because it was my Second Amendment. I can carry guns, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, it used to be I had to carry a gun for a certain reason, but like the lifestyle I live now, it was for me now, it was like how the drugs was real addictive because I done gotten comfortable with, you know, having stuff and not have to worry about. I ain't worried about when I see the police behind me or beside me. You know, I wave at them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, I you know, it's very different. You know, it's very different. It's really a lot more easy and comfortable, like I say, but it's very different. You know, because I do normal stuff, grown folk stuff, pay my bills and go to work and take care of the baby, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's very different, and it's different, but it was very a real challenge getting here.
Yeah.
Real challenge. They almost didn't make it here several times.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Real challenge getting here, but and I've been down the road, a lot of bumps. Been down a long road, but
So when you consider where you have been and you look at where a lot of young people are right now in this generation, what are your thoughts about that?
I wish I could, cause see, this a lot of the biggest problem is, I'm gonna say we, but we doing stuff now that, of course, just like then, I didn't see the longevity in it. I didn't see the road ahead in it.
Yeah.
And when I say longevity, I don't mean that in a positive way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I never saw that coming when I was going to overdose. You know how many times I had got high before that happened?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I had pushed it. I never thought that was going to happen. And if I could have had this fast forward track in life, or this fast forward view in life to be able to, go forward real fast and see, well, like, damn, this going, if I keep doing this, I'm going to end up with tubes running up everywhere and, in the hospital bed. You know what I'm saying? I probably wouldn't have done it, but of course, life didn't work like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And a lot of them right now, it's sad to say, but a lot of them not going to make it from what they're going through. Of course, we know that because a lot of them hadn't been making it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But when you doing it, because when I was doing stuff, I never saw it happening to me. I could see it happening to everybody else and like, damn, that's fucked up what happened to him. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of them, man, they really don't have, nobody around them to show them. Mm-hmm. It's like bees in a bee nest. If you stay in the bee nest, you're not going to never see nothing but bees. Mm-hmm. You may not see no wasps. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm country, so I got to add some essence on stuff. Yeah. But, you know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of them kind of like trapped in this world. You know what I'm saying? This they call it product of an environment, but that don't exist. The environment's within how we think. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I hate that for a lot of them. You know what I'm saying? But one thing for me, when it came to the change, you know what I'm saying? Because God put a lot of stuff out there for you, but he ain't going to make you take it. You know what I'm saying? He's not going to make you take nothing. But for me, I had to be willing and want to accept the change. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like I really had to be willing and want to accept the change. And a lot of us, we just not willing to accept that change. And then some of us don't even realize that we need to make that change.
Yeah. I'm going to back up to your analogy you gave about the bees and the hive.
Come on.
I remember years ago, very vividly, just as clear as I know my name, I remember being with another man by the name of Dan Henley. We were over this was back when I was working for Mississippi Boulevard as Youth Outreach Minister. I remember being in the New Chicago, in the Dixie Holmes community.
Right.
And while we were there, Brother Dan was talking with a young man over there. He was just talking about life in general. And one of the questions that young brother brought up stays with me to this very day as it pertains to some of our young people. That young man looked us in the face and asked us, y'all tell me, how do we change when every day that I wake up, the world that I live in looks the same?
Look the same, right?
Whether I'm looking out the window, whether I'm inside my crib, everything in my world looks the same. And so that question stuck with me because I've come to the realization I've been, for lack of better words, I've been doing this now. I think I've been in this game, but I'm not going to use that verbiage. But I have been involved in this struggle now for over 20 years, and I've learned a lot. I've learned a tremendous amount of things from various young people. And one of the things I've come to the realization about is you got different groups of young people that make up this generation.
Right.
There is a group that don't want anything out of life, and they're not interested in changing, and they ain't looking for nobody to point them in the right direction on how to change their life. They are just good as gold. They good as gravy with living like they're living and experiencing what they're experiencing. But there is another group in this generation, and that group is young people that they want to change. They want to do better in life. But like that young brother in Dixie Holmes that asked me and Brother Dan Henley that day, that question of, he was sincere. How do I change when every day, everything in my life looks the same?
Looks the same, right.
And we as adults have to be careful about being so surface and superficial with our answers that we leave them stuck out there like that.
Right.
So, elaborate on that. When you look at your own life, man, how did you make the transition from where you were to where you are now? And I'm asking that now more so for young people that may view this at some point, to have an understanding on how they get from this place of being stuck in the dark places of life to getting into this area of life where they learn how to be productive and learn how to really live their lives, the lives that God has intended for them.
Right. Well, for me, because like I said, I'm going to back up just a little bit. Because I didn't never come from no household where folk was smoking dope or drinking, or we didn't live in the hood. We lived in Boston. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when I went and done stuff, I went to the hood to do it. Like, I introduced me to that. You know what I'm saying? I was always the one that, they always say, your kids done got in the bag crowd, or, they done got around some folk they shouldn't be. I was the one that shouldn't, you know what I'm saying? I didn't have nobody influence me. I influenced myself in a very negative way. But for me, when it came to that transitional part of my life, the first thing, okay, a lot of stuff I was seeing was the sign, world of sign, you can turn around in this room and 100 times the wall still gonna be signed, door still gonna be there, kitchen still gonna be here, the couch still gonna be there. But for me, it was this thing that I had been going through, and all of us had my whole life, that I used to start to make a transition, and it was my dream. When I started to dream, right? Because they always say that God give you dreams. That's the evidence that things can happen, that things can come true in your life. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, because I used to always have these pictures in my mind when I go to sleep, where I could just get days off, and you know what I'm saying? I could have these pictures in my mind. I always wonder, where did they come from? Because I could get exposed to stuff through my dreams and through my, my thoughts that I had never been exposed to in the real world. In the eye-open world. I was exposed to things in the closed eye world. You know what I'm saying? I could go anywhere with my eyes closed. You know what I'm saying? But it's like I was limited when my eyes was open. And so for me, once I started to dream, that's when my life started to take, go a different direction. And then I wanted to accept it, because I had realized quick. Because one thing about me, I know I'm blessed to been like this, but I could go through something one time, and if I don't like it, I won't go through it again. You know what I'm saying? But for me, that was the biggest turning point right there, the dream in it. But I believed in my dreams. You know what I'm saying? And I knew they was true, because even when I dreamed about bad stuff, negative stuff, I done that. I dreamed about getting guns and doing this, that, and the third with it, and it happened. So I knew that in some way, shape, or form, them dreams was true. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of us, we have to see stuff to believe. It have to be, physical for us to believe. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? A lot of young folk, old folks, if it's not here, we can't touch it, we won't believe it. But see, in my dreams, when I closed my eyes and I went to sleep, I could touch things. You know what I'm saying? I took a trip to Dominican Republic about 2 years ago, right, for my 28th birthday. And before I went there, I went online, I looked at pictures, you know what I'm saying? And I just had an idea of what it looked like. And when I went to sleep and dreamed about going there, once I got there, it looked just how I expected, you know what I'm saying? But for a lot of us, because don't nobody teach us that. Yeah. We have dreams, but don't nobody teach us about dreaming. Don't nobody teach us how real that is. Because some of the most successful people in the world done became successful and where they are in life because of their dream. Yeah. You got to dream yourself there before you walk yourself there. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Before you fight yourself there. You know what I'm saying? You got to dream. And for me, like I say, I started just dreaming about different stuff. I started about dreaming about being different. You know what I'm saying? Because I had done created this world for me that I could see from, the folks around me that I saw what they was doing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I saw what they was doing. Whether I wanted to believe that part or not, I saw that because I done some stuff I supposed to be doing 100 years right now for, and been blessed enough, to not to go down that path. I went to jail one time, stayed there for 12 hours. That was 11 years ago. I ain't been back. I'm like, nah, this ain't for me here. These niggas is too loud and too crazy. I thought I was crazy. I said, nah, I ain't with this. But, for a lot of us, man, we never been taught how to dream, and then we be around so many non-dreamers and non-believers.
Yeah.
Other knuckleheads. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I probably, that's where I would start. I just start closing your eyes, think about something different. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to expose, like we were just talking about, a lot of people living how they living because they thinking how they thinking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But
I heard that in a motivational speech. The guy, I can't think of who it was, but the gentleman said, we have to realize that everything that we have accomplished in our lives up to this point is a result of what we have believed about ourselves
right.
and about life in general.
Right.
And based on what we believe, we started pouring time and effort into the very things that we believe.
Right.
Well, if your belief system, I had a young person who I had roughly a 2-hour conversation with one day, and I was talking about him and his life, and he was open and honest with me, and he told me that there are days that he wakes up that he doesn't believe that his life is ever going to amount to anything, that nothing good is ever going to happen for him. And I asked him, well, what happens to you when you find yourself feeling that way or thinking that way? And he said that ultimately what ends up happening is that he that's when his motivation falls back off. Now he's got a kid. He says kid is his motivation in life. And what I told him is that kid is your motivation, but that kid is also a stress factor in your life. Because when you as his father are unable to give him the things that you know he needs and the things that you just want to give out of love, when you're unable to do that because you don't have the resources you need, that generates a burden in your life. And so now you're trapped between dealing with two realities, the reality of your own personal life and the reality of not being able to provide for that kid.
Right.
And that keeps you going in this mad, vicious cycle. So, and even in my own life, when I look back over my life and look at a lot of decisions that I made when I was younger, I come to the realization that every young person ain't the same.
Right.
There are a lot of kids out there on the street doing some crazy things, but every kid that's on the street doing stupid stuff isn't necessarily coming from a bad family. For those of us who like to pigeonhole the families and say this generation is lost because of their family, no, that ain't true for every young person.
Nah.
It's some young folks that's lost for other reasons, and that's what D and I were talking before I even started the live video feed, and we were discussing that there are a whole lot of factors that are at play beyond the family, beyond video games, beyond the rap music, beyond the neighborhood they're growing up in. For me, I go back in the Bible in my head, I go back into Genesis, and I look at the first family of the Bible. Adam and Eve, Cain and Abel. Cain and Abel were raised in the same family.
Right.
Same neighborhood. They were with mom and dad together. But one managed to live life successfully in a way that was pleasing to God, and the other one just fell off.
Right. Because I was very lost, and my family had nothing to do with it. I'm going to make up another word, my lostness. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, so we have to come to a realization, number one, that our young people are worth our time.
Right.
So let's talk about that for a second, because this is my belief about what I see going on. That yeah, we got a problematic generation right now, but they're not problematic just because they're making bad decisions. They're also problematic because as a society, not just the family, but as a society as a whole, we are dropping the ball in so many ways that it's crazy. We can find money to pour money into so many other things,
Right.
and yet we continue to slight the educational system for financial resources. We can find money to do all these other things that don't have much to do with much or nothing, but yet we for entities that strive to do some meaningful and productive work in the lives of young folk, many of those organizations have to struggle to find the financial means in order to survive, because at the end of the day, we don't have a shortage of money. We don't have a shortage of wealth.
Right.
The problem is, what I said before we started recording is, the problem is the wealth is in the hands of a majority that don't give a flying flip about nobody other than themselves and their immediate family.
Right. Right.
So
Good old capitalist America, right?
yeah.
But first we got to understand that we can talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to save some lives, you got to go to where they lose.
Speak on that.
And a lot of us now, I say we young folk, but now it's older people. A lot of us ain't willing to sacrifice ourselves enough to go to where they lose.
Yeah.
Because, to have the courage to sacrifice yourself to go to where they losing, money can't make you do that. Or money can't do nothing about that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And, you really have to, when you go in them environments and go in them situations, and I don't necessarily mean going in the hood, and to, you know what I'm saying? I mean, that's part of it, going in the hood to try and save them, but you got to be you got to be willing to sacrifice yourself by going in their mind.
Yeah.
You have to get inside a person's mind and really understand where they come from.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like if you walk outside when it's raining. I couldn't walk outside when it's raining and not get wet.
Mm-hmm.
And when you walking inside of their mind, you can't walk inside of their mind and probably not get nothing on you. You know what I'm saying? Not get no kind of debris or no kind of residue on you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you got to be willing, you know what I'm saying, to sacrifice yourself in a sense. I mean, you've been doing it for years, but you got to be willing to sacrifice yourself in a sense to try and help them.
Yeah.
And you kind of got to, I don't want nobody to take it the wrong way, but you kind of got to dumb yourself down and take yourself back a little bit to understand them.
Yeah.
Because, they having issues that once upon a time, whether we want to admit it or not, all of us went through. We may be done forgotten about them. You know what I'm saying? But like for me, I remember I was young and ignorant because it wasn't long ago.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And in a sense, when you trying to understand them, we got to be young and ignorant again. But we just got to be young and ignorant and have some kind of maturity about it.
Mm-hmm.
Or with it, rather. You know what I'm saying? But we got to say, we got to be willing to sacrifice something to help.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And we got to, because you got to listen to them. You got to try and understand.
Yeah.
That's why I guess for me, I can still speak the language in a sense. You know what I'm saying? I'm bilingual. You know what I'm saying? I can still kind of speak the language and understand them and talk to them. You know what I'm saying? Because some of this stuff, we can't, how I'm trying to put it. I just use this. Sometimes if we trying to use God to help them, we can't mention his name. You see what I'm saying? Because, they get to think you preaching to them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because God do a lot of stuff, do everything that he don't leave his fingerprints on.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? God done wore gloves in my life and touched me and I didn't even know it. You know what I'm saying? But we, like I say, man, we really got to be willing to sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And it just, unfortunately, just not a lot of us out here that's willing to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just not a lot of us, you know, people that's done counter. And it's not a lot of us that exist out here to be willing to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know a lot of kids 10 years ago that I was at her, they gone.
Yeah.
You know, that part could have made it through and made some, you know, changes and transition in their life and to be here and to be like, well, look, little bro, don't do this shit. You know, this gonna happen like this and this gonna, you know what I'm saying? Because I remember I had a lot of people tell me, you know, night I went to jail, right? I went to jail. All the stuff I done, I ended up going to jail for some driving charge, DUI, right? But I remember the night I went to jail, my mama was at home, got real high, I would get high, and my mama boyfriend. And I remember my mama boyfriend Henry, he told me, say, he called me Spodio. He said, Spodio, don't drive, you gonna get in trouble. I said, man, I'm straight, because I'm thinking, like I say, I done this 100 times.
Mm-hmm.
This the 101st. This all good. I'm gonna make it through it. Like I say, now he had done told me, but I wasn't receptive to hearing it, because I ain't want to hear it. I'm thinking, because I'm young and ignorant, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't know no better. You know, I was exposed to the right stuff, but don't know no better. Don't want to know no better, brother. Mm-hmm. Don't want to know no better, because I knew better, but I didn't want to know no better. But he tell me, say, don't drive. 2 hours later, guess who I called? And guess where I called him from? It wasn't my cell phone, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
201 Poplar, locked up, bam. And guy pulled over, DUI. You know what I'm saying? And like they had told me. And now I be looking back, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm thinking like, we waste so much breath sometime and energy trying to tell these cats, look, bro, don't do this. If you do this, this is what's going to happen. Because we know. I can tell them right now how 100 ways to get killed. Mm-hmm. That's true. Mm-hmm. And I can tell them 100 ways to be successful. Mm-hmm. That's true. But they got to be willing to accept it, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of us just, because a lot of times, a lot of stuff I went through, I wasn't with. People was telling me, you know, don't do this and don't do that. But I wasn't willing to accept it. And like, I guess from our end, because, you know, like, you so passionate about it, and I'm passionate about trying to help them, but we got to understand that everybody not going to be receptive to being helped.
Yeah. Back up a second.
Come on.
Let's back up in your own life, because I recall, and you correct me if I'm wrong.
Come on.
When I first met you in Northside High School, you were what, 15?
Yep. Somewhere like that.
And
15.
I had put together an in-school mentoring program for teenage boys at Northside High School. School administration brought Dwayne to my group and asked me, would it be all right if he participated? I had no problem. I told him, sure. In my mind, though, I'm saying, and you had just gotten out of some legal issues when you had just gotten back in. They had just allowed you to get back in school. Right. And so in my mind, I was like, I ain't got a problem with it being here. But the reality is, like what you were just saying, in my mind, I'm saying, man, that dude ain't finna stick around for this. Right. This don't line up with nothing about his lifestyle that he living right now. And to my surprise, though, was not only did D stay in the group the rest of that day, when I came back the next week, I looked up, and to my surprise, D brought himself back in there, and he continued to come on a regular basis. So what was it that for you at that stage in your life, because that wasn't at the stage that you made a miraculous 180.
Right.
But obviously there was something that you experienced in that encounter that grabbed your undivided attention for the first time.
Well, for me, because like, and I remember that time period, and that was way before a whole lot of the destruction that I ended up going through. But for me, the direction of the program where y'all had taken it, and which I was speaking on, it caught my attention because I could understand what y'all was talking about. Okay. Right. And the reason why I could understand, because, you know, I was 15, 16, but I always had friends that was 25 and 30 and 40. You know, a lot more experience than me. So, you know, I had been around them for years and learned and stuff. So it go back to that part we talking about with the being able to speak the language. See, y'all wasn't speaking young folk language, but y'all speaking y'all language. But I was bilingual then too. I could understand what you was talking about. So, you know, it wasn't just like la la la. You know, you see the little kids sitting in the back of the church. He been there. He bored to death. He ready to go. It wasn't like that for me because I could understand you. You know what I'm saying?
Check this out, though. I don't mean to cut you out, but check this out. There have been numerous occasions. I got it written in my journal. There have been numerous occasions that I've run into some young cats that were in that program.
Mm-hmm.
And the first question that come out their mouth after they see me, Mr. Reggie, and they ask me how I'm doing, their next question is, you still doing that program at Northside?
Right.
This was before Northside closed. They're like, you still doing the program at Northside? And I'm like, no. It's like, you need to. Like, man, I know it seemed like we weren't listening, but man, we really appreciate it. I personally appreciated everything that you were doing for us over there. And that was phenomenal for me because the group was composed of some guys that were doing well grade-wise in school, alongside of some guys that were accustomed to cutting class and not going to class.
Right.
And the standard that we built into the program was, if you're going to participate in here, you got to at least go to class. Right. If you ain't going to class, I want to rap with you right now, man. Right. So, and guys over a period of time started at least putting up an effort to go to class. We wasn't giving out money. We wasn't giving out prizes.
Just a little pizza.
Yeah, exactly. I would buy pizza out of my own pocket. I was paying for the food for the program. And so, and there was another young man by the name of Steve. Steve, you remember Steve? Mm-hmm. He had some personal challenges going on in his life. Steve stayed connected with me even beyond Northside High School. And so when I say that as the people of God, we have the potential to impact the lives of many of our young people, I'm saying that not based on something that I read in a book or something that I heard through word of mouth. I'm talking about stuff that I have witnessed for myself through the time and the effort that I have spent being involved in the lives of young folk over this 20-some years. And I'm just talking about what I'm talking about. And that is, I know that even when young folk don't want to change and don't want to listen sometimes, somehow or another, and I don't have a full explanation other than the fact that God has a mysterious way of working behind the scenes.
Of translating.
Exactly. It's called the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit has a means of translating the time and the effort and the words that we speak in the lives of people into something that means something to them.
Right. He do it better than Google. He can translate.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So, and I'm gonna try to wind this down, but I wanna cut one more corner, and that corner is really, and you kind of touched on it already, the level of time and commitment that as a city, and I don't mean just, it's not like it's just going on in Memphis, it's going on all across America, but I live in Memphis. So right now, my focus is on what we as a community can do to begin to impact the lives of our young people. And it's going to take a tremendous amount of time, effort, and sacrifice. In the words of Jesus, we gonna have to die to ourselves. And we gotta die to ourselves, because if we don't die to ourselves, then our egos and our prides get in the way. So every time a young person cuss, we ain't fooling with you no more. Right. Get going. I read a text message to D from a young person who I'm currently mentoring right now. I got you, Clyde. I got a young person texting me while we doing this. But I want to read this. I want to read a portion of this text message that I sent to this young person a couple of days ago. I've been investing a lot of time and a lot of effort mentoring him. And like any other relationship, we hit a bump in the road. And he got in my car and he was high as a kite. He was smelling like weed. And it pissed me off to a point that I was really wanting to click, but I didn't click. And So what I was telling D about that exchange is it showed me that not only does God have a plan and a purpose to do something in the lives of our young people, but it's also about God's design for us as ministers and men and women of God who go out and do the work. At the end of the day, it's not just about us going out fixing lives, because I'm a system analyst for a living. I work on computers for a living. But I understand when it comes to ministering in the lives of young folk, it ain't like fixing a computer. Right. It's not like fixing an automobile or some other piece of machinery.
Ain't no program.
Exactly. It's going to take a serious commitment over the long haul. And yeah, there comes a point where we have to know when we engage in what I call a ministry of release, where you've done all that you have been called to do, and now God is calling you to step off.
Right.
But not out of anger and not out of frustration and not out of saying, oh, they ain't going to be nothing all their life. They through.
Because at some point we got to learn to step back and let him work his match.
Exactly.
Because he cold with his.
Exactly. And so we have to learn how to allow young folk to see something through our lives that they do not normally see. And this is an example, because I was so pissed off. The old version of me working with young folk, and I'm ashamed to say, but as a minister that was working full time as a youth outreach minister from Mississippi Boulevard, in them former years, when them cats used to do things to piss me off and disrespect me, it was nothing for me. I spoke the language and I spoke it fluently. They get cussed out from head to toe. But God has transformed my life in a way that even when I want to click, and I can still click if I had to, but what I learned on last week is that God had done something in my heart that I understand the bigger picture. And to a degree, I have died to myself. And so what I did was I sent this young man a text message. And a part of what I said in the text message is, I hope your day is going well. I felt compelled to send you this message. I want to say that in spite of what happened yesterday, I still love you. However, I will not allow you to become lazy when it comes to taking care of business you need to handle in order to get out on your own. And I said some other personal things about in my own life that I shared with him. And so I went on to say, so if I'm stressing and putting up an effort to turn my own life around, know that I will hold you to that same standard. I love you, son. Always have, always will, even when I have to strongly correct you. The next day, he texted me about some things, and he turned around and he texted me and he said, I'm trying to scroll down and find the message. He says, he told me, he said, I love you, Olster. And so, and then right there, he said, I love you, Olster. And I told him, I love you too, man. And so what God has been teaching me a lot of things, but one of the things he's teaching me about the power of love, the true power of love. Right. I ain't talking about the emotional kind of love or what I feel emotionally for a person, but I've made a personal commitment to what I'm doing. Not because I got all the answers, not because I fully understand everything from the beginning to the end. Only God had that kind of understanding. But at the end of the day, for me, God has designed me. God has called me and appointed me and anointed me for the work that I'm doing. And the evidence is in everything that I see going on around me as it pertains to my interactions that I have with young people. And even the relationship that I got with this man right here. This relationship has gone back since he was 15. He's 30 years old now. Look at the amount of time that has gone into this relationship. It wasn't a situation where the relationship was there for a season and all of a sudden we go on our own merry way. And sometimes that happens. But in the case of Dwayne reconnected with me. And so I'm gonna do things, even if it looks foolish to some folks. I'm past worried about how people think. We are losing a lot here, y'all. And I'm afraid that many of us don't understand what's at stake. And D and I talked about that a little bit early on before we started broadcasting, that people don't understand the big picture of what's playing out. We're so focused on their behavior trends right now, we're losing sight of the big picture. The big part of the big picture for me is it's not just about the teenagers now acting out. Those teenagers are now giving birth to new life.
They parents, unstable parents.
Exactly. So now you got another generation that's coming up behind this generation. And just like this current generation, many of them didn't have a foundation to grow from. How much worse is it going to be for the ones they're giving birth to? And how much worse is that next generation coming up behind them going to be? And so we got a lot of work to do. Everybody ain't called to do this work. But guess what? Some people, I believe, got financial resources and other resources that God could put on their heart that they're not called to work hands-on, but they could put resources in place for organizations to survive and thrive that are doing the work. And so, and then there are those of us in the church. You may not have a calling to go out in the streets, in the hood, and be where these young cats are, but you ought to be able to at least pray and intercede on behalf of what's going on and begin to believe God that God gonna show up and transform some things in our very midst. And then there are those of us that are the foot soldiers that we gonna go. We got an event coming up that Dwayne is gonna be there with me. He's gonna be one of the keynote speakers there on the 29th of this month, which is a Saturday, and it's somewhere after 2 o'clock. We're gonna be out at Shelby Farms. There's two different things going on. There's a walk going on out there, and then after the marathon walk, we're gonna stay in the Shelby Farms Park, and we're gonna go ahead and gather all of our teenage boys, and we're gonna chop it up and see where that goes. But we're trying to put together a ministry program that is designed to speak into the lives of our young people. But we're not just trying to design it by ourselves as adult men. We need our young people. We need some of our young people serving in leadership roles in that ministry. And so I'm excited, man. I'm excited. Anything that you want to say?
I guess, like probably in the, like when we was just talking about like trying to help them, you really got to take time and try to understand them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You were just saying, we were talking about, how the young cats now, they becoming parents. And I mentioned that they unstable parents because they unstable young folk, you know what I'm saying? But it's kind of like in the process of understanding, we kind of got to, like when we run our credit, you can see what your number is, you know what I'm saying? If you got a 650 or 700, you can see that. But, you can also go and look and see your payment history. And, you know what I'm saying? Because, your credit is part of your character.
Yeah.
And in a sense, we got to click on and kind of pay attention to see what their history has been in their life to understand them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got to look at your history and see why you got a 650. Well, it's because of 2 years ago you wasn't paying on time.
Yeah.
Or in translation of what we talking about, 10 years ago he grew up like this, then the third. You know what I'm saying? You kind of got to understand them and kind of go into their history a lot and understand them. But you got to have patience.
Yeah. You
got to have prayer. You got to have, like you said, commitment and consistency.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? To try and understand them. But everybody ain't cut out for this.
No.
A lot of people probably agree with it, you know what I'm saying? But you really just got to put a lot of prayer and you know what I'm saying, and patience, like I say. and you know, just keep going, try to help them.
Yeah.
Because I'd rather try and help them and fail than to not help them and then they fail. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I done seen a lot of good lives get lost.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of good doctors and lawyers that folk could have been and never will be.
Yeah.
And gone to his penitentiary, you know what I'm saying? Just gone. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah.
We just kind of, you know, I guess for me, I'm a survivor of a lot of it. So, you know, I'm willing to do my part.
Yeah.
Because I can kind of, you know, I can show them a whole lot.
Yeah.
Because I done it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it ain't a lot of folk that done it that could speak about
That's
it.
still around to even tell it.
Tell about it.
Yeah.
But we just got to be willing, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Willing to, you know, put forward that effort and help out a whole lot.
Yeah. Well, all right, folks. We're gonna wrap this up. I appreciate those of y'all that did dial in. I'm gonna tag a couple of folks. Once I end the video, I'll post it, and I'm gonna tag a couple of folks that for different reasons wasn't able to check in, but it'll stay online. But just know, I ain't going nowhere for a while. I'm committed to this for the long haul. And so, you know, I failed in a whole lot of ways in my life early on, but I ain't flunking out in this. Because to flunk out on this, not only would I be flunking out on our young people, but I would be flunking out on God and what He has invested in me, in my life. And so I'm locked in for this for the long haul. So we're gonna be doing some other things coming up. More of this. I'm working on scheduling another live session. That next live session will be from the New Chicago community. I've already spoken with some young brothers over there that been knowing me for some years, and they want to represent their neighborhood. And so I don't know, maybe some of this is going to create a starting point of drawing young people at least into some positive conversation that begins to get the wheels in their head to turning. I don't know. I'm following my heart right now. I'm following what I feel like God is leading me to do, and this is a part of it. I'm not, you know, it's like I said in a written post the other day, I'm not looking to develop a fan base. That ain't my thing. You know, I'm not looking for a drove of people to, you know, be writing and speaking rave reviews about me. My eyes are fixed on the thing that's most important, and that is God. And I feel like as long as I'm following Him and following His will and His plan for my life, all the other stuff will take care of itself. It don't really matter about nothing. So I appreciate you, my brother.
All right.
Appreciate the, you know, willingness to commit not only to this, but the time that you're willing to commit to going out and speaking to young cats, man. I really appreciate you. And again, for those of you all who have tuned in, appreciate the thumbs up that just went on. That this hadn't planned on going this long, but I told you it was going to be very informal, and so we just wanted to allow things to kind of flow from a conversational standpoint. But we are done with this for the day. I got some things that starting next week, they'll be written posts. They won't be video based. They'll be written. I told you there are some spiritual lessons that God has taught me over the years as I have worked tirelessly with our young people. And these are lessons that, unless there were men and women who've been out here doing the work, you wouldn't read about these type lessons. And you know, so I want to share those with you all, man. For those that are interested in being involved, these will be lessons that you won't necessarily have to learn the way I learned. You know, let's not forget. I want to say this. I want to challenge my men. I want to challenge men It ain't for every man. But I want to challenge men in general to step up and be involved. Because I believe when men start taking their places in society, we'll start to see some real change as well. I'm just speaking from my own personal experience. For years, I looked for other men to mentor me in this area of work that I'm involved in. And it blew my mind, man, that every man who I turned to did not have a desire to mentor me, either because they weren't involved in this area of work. Hey, Miss Brenda, I see you. Either because they weren't involved in this area of work, or because they didn't see anything in me. And that bothered me for a long time. And I was in the church. And if I felt that way as a grown man in the church, how much more do our young people who are unchurched feel when they step in the doors of our church? What is their experience when they do make a notion to come and show up and worship?
Because we got to have some men. It take a man it take a man have to give a boy a blueprint on how to be a man.
Exactly.
And can't nothing but another man teach that blueprint. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we have to have a lot of men that's willing to do that. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of these young cats, boys or whatever, you know, they ain't got opportunity. They ain't got people to, you know, they ain't got no man around them to show them how to be no man. They got other older cats that ain't no more of a man than, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, the man on the mouse on the motorcycle, you know what I'm saying? Ain't no more man than that. He a fool, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, it got to be it got to be some people that's, you know, some men that's willing to invest that type of time to really try and show these young kids, you know, because mama do her best, but mama can't make you no man. Grandma can't make you no man. Great grandma, you know, your sister and them, your auntie and them can't. It take a man to make a man. And it take a man to teach one, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
you got to have some cats that's willing to, you know, sacrifice some of their time and, you know, sacrifice some of their experiences, you know, to teach.
Yeah. Well, that's it, folks. We are done on this evening. I appreciate seeing you online. And y'all know I'll be writing online later on tonight, but other than that, I'm done for the day. Appreciate y'all, man. Catch you next time. Other than that, we out of here. God bless.